Hi everyone, Lewis here. I've gone with a bit of a green and a pink colour scheme for this video just because reasons. I wanted to talk about a film again. I went to see at the cinema The Many Saints of Newark, which is subtitled in the marketing A Sopranos Story, as it is a prequel to the beloved television series The Sopranos, or Sopranos if you're American, um, which I say beloved. Did I say beloved? Yeah, I did. Beloved by myself in particular. In fact, I'm pretty obsessed with it, and it's to go into my own history with the series. I watched it when it was on TV when I was a teenager, and I liked it at kind of face value. Because it's cool and violent and stuff. And then when I've rewatched it a few times as an older adult, I appreciate the depth of it and the subtlety and the satirical nature of it. And I think about it all the time. I watch stuff about it all the time. When I go back and watch it every single time, I see something new or I understand something better, and it just gets better and better with each thing. So yeah, that's my history with it. So I wasn't sure how I felt about this movie going in, because I was looking forward to it, but I wasn't. I was in no rush to see it, mainly because pandemic, and I wanted to wait until I knew there was a time I can go and see it when it'd be quiet. And I went at about 11 o'clock on a Friday morning, and there was only two other people in there, so that was really good. I didn't want to go when there'd be a lot of people in there. So yeah, so I was kind of like, I'll definitely go and see it, but I wasn't sure what to expect as such. I just thought, is this something we really need? Like, The Sopranos is a perfect piece of art on its own. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's perfect because it's not perfect, if that makes any sense. I love it, and I just sort of thought, I hope they don't, it won't ruin what we've already got, but I just kind of think, oh, I don't want there to be something with the Sopranos name on and with the characters in that I don't love. I think that's probably, I just had that realization there, and you watch that happen, and I think that is probably the best way of putting it. So I didn't really have any expectations going in. I just thought, at the very least, I'll enjoy this, and I did. I had a really good time watching it. I don't know. I'm not really a sucker for nostalgia. Like, I like little nods and stuff to things, and I'd say, again, this is no spoilers, and I'm not going to be too specific about anything either. And I think if you're a fan of the show, you kind of know roughly what it's going to be. But again, I'm not going to talk about anything specific just to avoid spoiling it for anyone who maybe is on the fence about seeing it. I think in America it's on HBO Max, so you could watch it without even going anywhere and no extra cost. So I think if anyone's even remotely interested in it, they'll watch it. I think if you're a fan, you'll enjoy it. Because there is enough in there. There's the odd little bit here and there. There's a few lines and a few little bits that are kind of nods, but not just like, not over the top. They're just kind of little bits, and you go, yeah, I appreciate that. There was one line from the series that I had in my head while I was watching one particular scene, and then there was a very similar line in it, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But I feel like if someone isn't a fan, this will probably just be an okay movie. Like, it's a weird one. I feel like there's not really a consistent uh, narrative, I guess you'd say, or consistent sort of through line of the story um, that would hold the interest of someone who isn't a fan. I think is probably the best way of putting it. And also, if maybe you were thinking, oh, I'll watch this, and if I like it, I'll watch the series, there is a pretty huge spoiler for the almost end of the series right at the beginning. So, regarding the fate of a certain important character. So I would say, I don't know, it's a hard one. Yeah, so but roughly what I'm saying is, yeah, if you're a fan, at the very least, I think you'll have an enjoyable time. If you're not a fan, it might just be okay, or you might not like it. It's a hard one to say. Yeah, I think it's. I saw a thing with David Chase, who created the show and wrote this film. I think it was directed by Alan Taylor, who did quite a few episodes of the TV series and has done a few films. But I think he was upset that it was going to be on HBO Max because he wanted to kind of shed the image of it being a TV show, and this is a movie, and it very much is a movie. It's made like a movie, it's shot like a movie. It's not shot like a TV show in many respects, And you watch this and you go, I'm watching a movie. I'm not watching a TV movie. I'm not watching a long episode of the show, because it's just presented in a different way. It's kind of using these characters that we kind of know the older versions of in most cases, and a few obviously ones they've introduced for this film. It's showing stories involving them in a different medium, basically film as opposed to television. So I'm glad I could see it at the cinema, because that really kind of brought that home, that it's a movie and not a TV show. And like I say, it didn't feel like a TV movie or anything like that. It felt like a proper big movie. I think the cast is probably my favourite bit. Like, it's weird seeing these characters that are so beloved, even like the supporting characters like Paulie and Silvio and Big Puss and stuff like that. And it's just like, by the way, I only saw the first trailer going in, so I'm only going to talk about things that were in the first trailer. So we kind of knew these characters were in, so hopefully that's not classed as a spoiler. I don't think it is, but they're such beloved characters played by only one actor before. Like, and it's weird to have somebody else playing them, but luckily they're a younger version, and they were really good. Like, mostly they were kind of not so much in the background. They had lines, but they weren't like the key part of the scenes. But yeah, I probably won't single any of them out just because any of the cast out, just because it'll take a while to go through each one. But but the actor, I don't know his name, who plays Silvio. At first, I thought, wow, this guy's great. He's doing like a dead-on like impression of Stevie Van Zandt as Silvio. And then towards the end, it kind of got to the point where I went, this is almost becoming like someone doing a parody impression of him, kind of thing. Like, he moved exactly like him, but it looked like this could be in a sketch, like. But again, I don't think that's a bad thing. It was such a good impression, but I just got that kind of impression briefly. No similarity in his words was intended. Alessandro Nivola plays Dicky Moltisanti, who's a character who we never saw in the show but was always mentioned, and this is kind of his story, and he's very much the main character. Like, a lot of the marketing is about young Tony Soprano, but he's not the main character. He's obviously probably one of the most important, obviously, but it's more about Dicky. And I say Alessandro Nivola is not like a household name or anything. He's been around for a long time, and he's a very good sort of character actor, but I like that they didn't cast someone who was too kind of big. Like, it helps you kind of see him in this role, and helps you kind of go, okay, this is Dicky Moltisanti. It's yeah. As I mentioned earlier, in the marketing, it said that a Sopranos story, and the whole thing was like, who made Tony Soprano? And like, it's kind of not really that. I feel like when you see the title of the movie, it just says the Many Saints of Newark, and it shows the title at the beginning and the end, and it's I feel like that was David Chase's goal, was just to create this singular piece of work that relates to his previous series, but it wasn't meant to be like Solo, a Star Wars story. Like, it wasn't meant to be like a big kind of cash in or anything. It's just this thing that he wanted to create, and I feel like the marketing then added kind of the Soprano story and who made Tony Soprano. The trailer kind of makes it look a bit more of an action movie, makes it look a bit more about Tony, which is not as much, which what I thought it was going to be anyway originally. There's a few lines in the trailer that I kind of cut down to give him a bit more punch, but when you see him in the film, they're a bit longer kind of lines and that. But yeah, so I feel like it's kind of presented in a way that it's not in a bad way, but I feel like it's hard for me to know what David Chase's intention was for this movie. I don't know if this is because the show is quite a heavy satire, but in the sense where you can take it at face value. That's why I always say to people who've never seen the show, it's not what you think it is. It's not just a show about gangsters. It's a real kind of deep thing. And I know that's a really shallow way of putting it, but I've only got so much time. But yeah, so I don't know if this movie is meant to be like that in some sense, and I feel like as time goes by, there's going to be a lot of people, probably smarter than me, doing video essays and stuff like that, and there'll probably be a lot of people going, oh, this movie's terrible, it's the biggest disappointment ever, and then there'll probably be a lot of people going, this movie's a masterpiece, here's why, here's how it relates to this. And like, I think when I go back and watch the show again, I'll see it slightly differently in some ways. I look forward to watching this film again and kind of going, okay, I get this part more now, I get why this bit makes sense a bit more. So in many ways, that's the appeal of the show, I think, is that it gets better the more you watch it, and I'm kind of thinking it'll be the same for this film. So I'd say that I really enjoyed it when I watched it. and I feel like a lot of people probably will be disappointed because they're expecting it to be this big grandiose thing when it's just kind of, it is kind of what it is. But I feel like as time goes by, it's gonna develop more of a following. People are going to understand it more, myself included, and it's going to hold up there quite well with the series, I think. I don't know if they're going to do any more stuff. I don't really know what other stories you can tell, and in some sense it's quite nice to have stories untold. I think like when you picture things in your head, they're a lot better than what they actually are when you have the story shown to you. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't complain. You know, more stories is always good. But yeah, I enjoyed it. Like I say, I think if you're a Sopranos fan, I think you'll enjoy it. At the very least, just for, you know, the nods and the references and stuff like that, and seeing these characters again, which is really nice. And obviously some of the places as well. And if you're not a fan, it's a hard one to say. I think it'll be an okay movie for you, but maybe not. But yeah. Anyway, that's my review of the Many Saints of Newark, a Sopranos story. Thanks for watching. Leave a like or whatever if you want to. I don't really care. Thanks very much. Bye.